What's up, y'all? Thank you for making it to another episode of The Money Exchange with Patrina Dixon. And if you are watching us on YouTube, it's My Money with Patrina Dixon. I am so excited to hear today. When you hear this episode, you're going to want to know why. The topic that a lot of us are reading in media across our social feeds is about student loans, and the topic of student loans and the money that certain people are getting to help defray some of the costs of their student loan debt. One of the angles we're taking today is how do you save to pay for college? So not those that are in debt, those that are aspiring to go to college and want to figure out how that happens. So this is not only for parents that are listening, for students that are preparing for that or may already be there and you still need to know how to finance. So you want to make sure you take a listen to my guest. Before I introduce him, remember, if you're not subscribed and you're looking to me at YouTube, make sure you drop down and subscribe using those red subscribe letters. Easily click that button and you're all set, and episodes will flow through your feed. If you are listening to me on any audio platform, follow me because I give you money tips on relevant, practical things that you could do to transform your life from a financial perspective. So make sure you do yourself a favor and do that. Now with me today, I have Robert Farrington. What's up, Robert?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. Guys, for those of you that are watching, sorry for the audio listeners, his background is so cool. Like, I love that. I have to say that. I just love the whole way it comes across. So, Robert, student loan debt. Before we get into the nugget, just going right in, tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into the topic.
Absolutely. So I'll keep it short. So I started writing about money when I was finishing college because I like to make money. I like to invest money. And then guess what? I got hit with my own student loan debt after I graduated college. So what does any good money writer do? I started writing about my battles with it. And that's when I started realizing that, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people out here that are struggling with it. So I started writing more about it, helping people get out of student loan debt. But I never wanted to take away from the fact that you still need to start saving and investing early. And now that most of us millennials are having kids and different things, I talk a lot about saving and paying for college too, because these same group of people that were graduating with me, we all have kids now and we're dealing with the same thing. So here we are today.
I love it. And you know, a lot of people say to me, I didn't start early enough. Oh my gosh, my kid is in a junior or senior in high school. So when you talk about saving, do a person have to be at a certain place, or, you know, their child or themselves has to be at a certain place within, away from the being on campus at college before they can start the savings? Or what do you have to say about that?
I mean, honestly, the earlier the better, right? But, you know, we all are starting at different points. So I like to think of paying for college like a pie with a ton of different slices on that pie. And we want to try to maximize savings and like 529 plan and investments for college. But hey, you know, there's a lot of other slices on that pie before you get to the icky student loan stuff, right? You can do grants, you can have scholarship, the kid can work, parents are typically working, you know, maybe like grandparents can support, family members can support, work study. Like there is a ton of different options there. And then yes, of course, you got student loans, but hopefully you can have enough other pie slices and make that student loan slice the smallest one.
Yeah, and I like to tell people, like everything you just said, like do all the other things, get good grades, apply for grants and scholarships. You know, there's the app Scully and various different ways that you can get scholarship opportunities curated based on your own profile. So there's a lot of ways that you can finance going to college. So I love that factor. You know, Robert, before we go on, we have to address this topic. There are some people that like and some people that dislike the fact that some people will reap the benefit of $10,000 or $20,000 on student loan debt. So before we continue the saving topic, let's talk about that a little bit, because some people are at that place where they'll be there. What's your thought regarding that?
Hey, if you get free money from the government, you literally have a duty to yourself to maximize as much money as you can get for free. I don't care how any American feels like it. It's every American's duty to pay as little in taxes and to get as much free money from the government. So you should never be mad at your neighbor that they're getting getting it and you're not, like you should be rooting them on because free money is free money.
Yes.
On the flip side, I don't think it's a great higher education policy. I don't think it fixes any issues. You and I both talked to a lot of high school kids. They're borrowing. They borrowed $90 billion last year. They're going to borrow it again this year. Like it doesn't change anything like for the future of our higher education system. So in that regard, I think it's bad policy. And I also just want to caution people that it might not help your budget as much as you think, because most of the people that qualify haven't paid their loans in almost 3 years at this point in time. And before the pandemic, they were on income-driven repayments, things like that. So, it's a huge relief. Let's not dismiss it, but like it might not change like January 2023's budget for you in terms of what comes in, what goes out. So be aware.
Yes, as for those that are not paying, I know some may be paying, and that may give them a little bit relief. But you're right, some majority of those folks are not or haven't been because of the whole relief that people have experienced over the last few years. So okay, so now we're back at people are preparing. So people starting early. I know some people as soon as they conceive, they're ready to start that college fund, right? You dropped one naming convention in there, and that was 529 plans. Some may not know what that is. Can you talk a little bit about what those are?
Absolutely. So a 529 plan is a education savings account. We can't even call it a college savings account anymore. It used to be, but they have broadened what you can use it for. But honestly, what you need to think about is that money that goes into a 529 plan goes in pre-tax in some states, right? You might get a tax deduction. It grows inside the account tax-free. And as long as you pull the money out for qualifying education expenses, it's also tax-free when you pull the money out. So it's a really cool way to grow money for education in a potentially tax beneficial way. It could be used for a lot of things, right? We talk about tuition, room and board for college, books and supplies, things like that. It can also be used for K through 12 education. So up to $10,000 a year in K through 12 education. And you can also pay your student loans one time. You can put $10,000 to your student loans. And I guess I should also say you can use this for trade school, apprenticeships, other things. So it doesn't have to be like the traditional 4-year college that we're thinking about. It could be for other types of higher education, future education as well. So it's a great way to save, especially if you have little ones and or you're in a state where you get a tax advantage for doing it.
Yes, I love it. So now what's that one thing you want to dispel for people who say, I just don't have enough to save for, or that have that young person who's done really well, got, maybe got some scholarship or grant money, but just not enough to go to the school that they want to go to. Any thoughts that you want to share with the parents or student that's listening to that?
Absolutely. So when you're crafting this college list, yes, put some stretch schools on there that might also be financial stretch schools, but honestly, seriously consider things like community college, your local state school, things like that. Because I talk to a lot of families and it's a family decision, and that's what makes it hard. And I'll look into the eyes of these high school juniors and they know the math and they know what makes sense financially. I think a lot more than we give them credit for, but they're also burdened so much by the psychology of where they think their parents, their auntie, their family, their friend group thinks they should go. And as a result, they might not make the best decision because they feel like they're going to let their family down if they go to community college for 2 years and then transfer to a state school. But I want to tell everyone that you're being judged when you're in high school. You're also being judged when you're 25 and 30 and you're buying your first house because you're not in student loan debt and you made a bunch of good financial decisions. So, I know it's a lot of pressure, but sometimes that financially savvy course gets you to the same outcome. Like if you want to be a teacher, if you want to go do a certain job, you can get there in a variety of paths. It doesn't have to be this fancy name school that might cost a fortune, because you might regret it when you're 35 and still paying off those loans and feeling like I could have done this for a lot less, right?
Yeah, Robert, you're so right. I remember an intern that worked with me who wanted to go away to this certain school, but the funding wasn't there for her to do that. I suggested exactly what you said. I'm like, why don't you go to so listen to this, the local state college that she can go to for free, not even a portion, like paying some for free, ensure that the classes you're taking will translate to the college that you want to go to. And you do 2 years. Not only are you attending for free for 2 years, you can still work to fund what the next 2 years would be. Make sure you get good grades and all in the class. So that's like, to me, that's a perfect scenario. So anyway, I know that there are a lot, just because I talk to a lot of students, there are many kids that are doing that. And I think it has become more mainstream than it was before. So I love that you also suggest that as well. So your brand is the college investor. Like, what is that all about? Like when you think about funding college and you think about investing, usually they don't go together. So how do you talk, like, how does that naming convention work for you?
Honestly, at this point in time, we're well past the days. I was a college investor where I used to side hustle, earn money, invest it while I was in school because I'm a big
You
believer
better
in,
go, Robert. That's
right?
what I'm talking about. Yes.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. And I still want to talk about that. I want to start talking about how to invest as early as humanly possible, even if it's like 20 bucks, $50, because time and money compounds over time. So even if you can get a little bit in there as early as you can, it'll grow into huge amounts by the time you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s. And so that's what I really love to talk about. But we got to overcome these hurdles and roadblocks. So student loan debt is a huge one affecting younger people, but actually it's really affecting everyone these days.
Yeah.
But we want to overcome these roadblocks so that you can do it. And I'm a big believer in financial balance. So it's like you could do both at the same time. You can pay off your student loans and you can try to invest. And honestly, by the time you're done with your loans, you'll also probably have a really nice nest egg of investments too if you're doing it. So I really like to talk about those things, teach people how to do it, leverage the tools they have so that we're not only getting out of debt, we are also building wealth for ourselves because, you can't get a loan for retirement. You can get these loans to pay for college, all these other things, but you got to take care of yourself at some point in time.
That's exactly right. That's why I say pay yourself first, because if life happens, like retirement, break a leg, flat tire, you have to pay for it. So that's why you have to pay yourself first. So when you say you can invest as little as $20, if you had to drop a tip on how folks would do that, what would be your tip?
Honestly, how are you investing? So if you're taking care of yourself, I just love using the tools that are available to you. So maybe that's a 401k or a 403b at work. And maybe your employer gives you free money, like a matching contribution, right? Like don't leave
Yes.
free money on the table and you can invest. Maybe you have an HSA too. I don't know about you, but when I was working full time, my employer gave me $1,000 into my HSA for free. All I had to do was get my annual physical, which was free because they were trying to make us be healthy, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, again, free money, and that money goes right into an investment and you can start having that money grow over time. If you're talking about saving for your children, one of the ways I love to do it is let's get the whole family involved. And so this is a little controversial, but let's be honest. I have two young kids, mine's 9 and 6, and they used to get 20 presents like every birthday and holiday, all the aunts and uncles and things, and they'd all give them like something like $30 from Target, and they play with two of them. And then you're dealing with all this other stuff. And I just kind of looked at it, my wife did. And then we had a family friend that told us, they're like, hey, you should ask them if they would contribute to the 529 in lieu of gifts. And we started doing that in our family. And so the kids still get like 3 or 4 presents from mom and dad. But now all these other people just send the money into the 529 plan for them. And it's such a better use of family money because they come to the party, they get to watch the kids, be a part of their life. But now we don't have 30 things from Walmart or Target that we have to deal with that literally just go to waste. It's like literally just watching money get thrown away, and it just pained me. And now we're taking that money and putting it into a productive way to do it. So I know there's going to be an aunt or uncle that's not going to listen to you, and they're going to be like, I'm still getting your kids something. Okay, that's fair. But I bet if you actually talk to them, a lot of them are like, that's pretty smart. It's a much better use of money than just wasting it.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I agree, and you're right. If you have several aunts and uncles, and 2 of them don't, oh well, you know what I mean. But at least you got the 6 others doing it. So you just have to meet people where they are. So I think that's a really great idea. You even can extend that even past college. Like I know with my daughter being an adult now, it's like I used to do the same thing with a ton of gifts, and then it was like more time was spent on opening it and then finding the 1 or 2 she wanted. Now it's like let's spend time, like the time together, having experiences, having photos that we can refer back to versus like the toys and things that we gave and thought were great at that time. Now somebody else owns them because we've given them away to Salvation Army or whatever it is, because you just do that year over year because you don't have enough room. But so I love that idea. And the other thing I wanted to mention, you said this earlier, when you talk about saving for college, you talk about maybe have the kid have a job or maybe the parent pick up some side hustles. I always talk about, and this has been the year for my It's My Money Squad, is intention. Be intentional. So if you're going to drive Uber as an example for purposes of college, don't drive Uber and then go shopping with it, put it in that college fund. You know what I mean? So be very intentional so that you can see whatever it is that you're doing that we will call extra, that you're seeing the reaping of that benefit by way of growth in the savings that's intended for college. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that because that's really what it is. And every family is going to have a different set of values. Everyone personally is going to have a different use of their time and effort, but you want to be intentional, know why you're doing it, and really see that goal take place. And honestly, get your kids involved. If you're out driving for Uber, maybe do Uber Eats and have your kids help you deliver that food and teach them the lesson of why you're doing it and what work you're putting into it for them or for whatever cause it is.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. So now, what would you give as so one, I know that you have a lot of different content. Let's first talk about that. So people, they're going to listen and hopefully they'll leave us some good comments, and there'll be information down in the show notes, when they go to your link in the show notes, what will they find? What's there? What do you offer to people on this topic?
Absolutely. So we teach you everything you want to know about saving for college, paying for college, getting out of student loan debt, and building wealth. And you can find that right on the top, right on our homepage. So anything you want to know on that. And we can also where you're at. So we're on video, we're on audio, we got the TikTok going on. So however you like to consume your content, you'll find us there at The College Investor.
Okay, great. And now what do you find, what do you hear as people watch you, leave you comments that they struggle with the most in this realm of preparing for college?
I mean, all of it, from preparing for college, paying for college, and getting out of student loan debt, it all comes down to actually financial organization. There's just so many moving parts and different levers you can pull, and you just need to spend a little bit of time to write it all down, get organized. And with the saving and paying for college side, you have to be more transparent with your kid, which can actually be a little scary for some families, but you got to share that number with them, and they're going to find out when they fill out the FAFSA anyways, which is the free application for federal student aid. And everyone needs to do that when they're a junior in high school. But that's probably a whole other podcast right there. But you're going to have to share these numbers with them. You're going to have to be transparent. But honestly, the earlier you're transparent, the easier the conversations are, because then everyone can be on the same page. There's nothing worse than the kid going to apply for college and getting the surprise that I thought mom was going to pay or my parents were going to pay. And then the parents were like, we didn't save for you. We don't have any money. And it really becomes tough and really messes up some family dynamics. So be transparent, share what you got, say like, hey, we have $5,000 for you. That's all we got. This is what you have. So when you make your college list of where you're going to apply, make sure it's very clear on some financial aid schools, some financial safety schools, things like that, so that everyone's on the same page. And plus, the earlier you do it, the easier it is to course correct. Maybe your child will start applying to more scholarships because they know there's going to be a funding shortfall. Like there's nothing worse than like trying to hustle it. I need to apply for a lot more scholarships at the last minute. Like that's not going to help at all. So be transparent, get organized together as a family.
Yeah. And that's why I don't know if there's any apps that you would like to recommend here. I remember one of my favorite shows is Shark Tank. And I remember a young man coming on talking about the app. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think it's Scully or something like that. Mm-hmm. I love the way that it curates the scholarships that are appropriate for the end user based on the profile information that they put in. And he talked about the number of hours, the owner talked about the number of hours that he and his mom, because he was a child of a single parent, put into trying to find scholarships, right? So that's why he created it. And my point in bringing that up is there's so many scholarships out there. There's scholarships for people that are podcasters. There's scholarships for people that are left hand, right hand, just all kinds of things. And the more that you understand, it takes time to one, find them, and then two, complete the applications. The more you do it and the more you realize that, you may find the more financing that you'll have help with, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
I mean, you nailed it. And the hardest actual part is finding the scholarships, because most of the good ones, and by good, I mean the ones that you'll probably have the highest likelihood of winning, aren't on these apps. And that's the hard part, is these apps curate the major ones. They curate ones that are available, but guess what? Everyone's applying to those. The best ones for for you are probably going to be, here's the best resource that like I feel like most kids don't use because they're scared to use it, is literally walk into your high school guidance counselor's office. And a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them will have a list of local scholarships for your area. And these are the ones that's like the car dealer in your town, and maybe a local church organization or a volunteer group, or maybe there's a union in your town that has one. Like those are the ones that are very less competitive, and that you, so as a result, you might be able to get more. And, you know, they're really localized, which gives you a leg up, and they're not on these scholarship search sites. So check that out. Yeah. And then check with your parents' network. Honestly, a lot of major Fortune 500 companies offer like scholarships and grants to their employees' kids, things like that. Maybe your parents are part of an organization or a group, things like that. Like, again, reach out to your network. Those ones that aren't listed, you have really great odds. I will also, go ahead. I was
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and please, please, please fill out the application completely. So we even run a scholarship on the College Investor for entrepreneurial students. And we get about, last year was the most we ever got. We got like 300 applications, right? I'll tell you, we actually only had to review about 80 of them because those 220 of them didn't even follow the directions, fill out their names, submit the right information, yada, yada, right? And so like you get disqualified. You actually might have a really good chance if you just follow the directions.
Oh man, so that's a good point. Follow the directions and submit on time. And don't always look for the 5, 10, whatever thousand, the 5, 600 and the 1,000 and 2,000. All of those add up. So if you get 20 of those, it's the same. Exactly right. So Robert, this has been phenomenal. You are a wealth of knowledge. Again, tell them where they can find you.
Absolutely. So you can find me at thecollegeinvestor.com or on your favorite platform at The College Investor.
All right. And thanks again for tuning in to another episode of The Money Exchange. And if you're watching, it's My Money with Patrina Dixon. Make sure you drop down into the show notes so that you can link directly over to the College Investor. And if you have any questions about how to budget to help you along, my link is down there as well. Hit the subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Make it a great day.